All right, guys and gals, welcome to round 2, game 8, the final round 2 game of the Tiny Wars Open tournament. Ever since round 1 and all the way up to this game, we've been seeing so many crazy games. Let's see how halfway of this tournament, what the games have been looking like. I'm sorry, English is hard. I'm Advanced Warrior.
And I'm CJ.
And we have sarastro as player 1 versus Lordofcold as player 2, Isabella Mirror. Did I give you mouse control? I did not give you mouse control. Isabella Mirror. Isabella has a boarding cost of 50, zone radius of 2, expands from 30, and then from 60. All units in the zone, plus 20% offense and plus 20% defense.
Yeah, so that seems pretty standard, but then you look at the CO power, or the Super CO power. Full energy cost, all units get the boost, the day-to-day 2020, but then they also get plus 2 movement and indirects get plus 2 attack range. So your artilleries become rockets, your tanks fly. I don't know, not really, but like they kind of do.
She makes other COs feel obsolete.
Yeah, your B-copters go super fast too. It's just wild, ridiculous.
It is very wild. That is, yeah. The 20% difference. Let's just start this. The 20% is not enough of a difference. Usually, some of the COs get like a 30% boost in their specialty, like Will 30% on attack, Brenner 30% on defense. Lynn. 30% on both attack and defense, but with a much smaller CO zone.
There's Forsyth with 2020 with no wider zone, but just no power.
No powers. CJ, keep him busy just for a second, please.
Yeah, but I mean, Isabella's like day-to-day is pretty standard stuff, but I mean, it's still quite good. I mean, 2020 is always nice to have.
Sorry about that, I'm back.
Yeah, but it's really her CO power, which is just ridiculous.
It's also
so powerful.
It's also a zone radius of 2, which is what I think is like the special number to get something going, but not like a zone where you could just keep growing and growing a lot faster. Like say Penny, she at least has a smaller CO zone than Penny and Brenner, but It's still enough where Isabella could like still get a power. So I guess it's like a icy Rush FTK situation where there are like no COs. Now we got 2 players with probably the best CO, one of the best COs in the game. So it's probably gonna kind of be like that unless one gets completely screwed over by a power. It's like what do you do against that? What do you do against everything that has plus 2 everything?
Yeah, you kind of just have to play really conservatively most of the time. or if your opponent got their energy on a turn where they positioned weirdly, like they were greedy, then you can try to snipe the CO. And it might come at a heavy cost, but more likely than not, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, that CO zone's going to have like 40 defense.
Yeah, we're gonna hopefully we see just like really good CO play, because I mean that is I think Isabella's whole thing probably is like really good CO play. If you get really good CO play going, then
Isabella Copter, maybe.
I think it works. I think CO Copters just work in this map because of the way the terrain is.
I'm still someone who would maybe like a 3 zone radius for copters. But however, this copter does elicit an anti-air response on the 2 base side, and that copter can just fly towards the center, like we saw in Game 7 with Observer and Xiao Tiantong. Hold on a second. This is starting to look exactly like Observer and Xiao Tiantong. board the copter and just bring it, just like hurl it towards the 2-base side. The anti-air can't do anything yet.
Yeah, the annoying thing about going up against a B-copter CO is that you have to build an AA as a response, and you generally don't want to load that, so then you have to delay your CO until you can get like another tank out or something. Which is kind of lame because as Isabella, you want to get that stuff as soon as possible. Sarastro though has pretty good opportunity here to just get a bunch of energy, or some energy, not like a ton, but like it's a good start. And considering that Lordofcold CO just straight up isn't out yet, they are making progress.
I've been playing several games in between recordings with CJ, and oh wow, that bike survived. I've been playing several games with CJ, and no, not with CJ. Several games in between recordings with CJ, and looking at this map, I am more than convinced that I think Dusters are actually a good buy on this map.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm not as big of a fan of Dusters, but I do think that they could be quite viable on this map just because you want that wide coverage. But still, the normal anti-airs can do a lot. That sucks. That sucks. That is super annoying.
So, if I may, this is how I see it. Why are copters good on this map? Because the anti-air can't go through all that terrain. So I think the niche of the Duster is that it's supposed to be an anti-air that doesn't have to worry about terrain, so copters are not that strong. However, they are 13,000, so you do gotta pay a pretty penny in order to have a Duster that is just as vulnerable as any other air unit from anti-airs, missiles, and other Dusters. And fighters as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see like you're not gonna see the I think I've only seen like a missile once in this entire tournament on this map.
Maybe twice. Once or twice. I remember those missiles, but I can't remember how many times we've seen them.
Yeah, and I also don't think I've ever seen a fighter like ever. Like I've played this game for probably a year now. I don't think I've seen a fighter ever.
Have we played this game around the same time?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's already at 60. Turn 10, 60. Oh my god, this is insane. Oh, a Duster. Speaking of Dusters.
Yeah, I think this is kind of awful. There's an urge to just surrender at this point.
There's going to be so much move on that Duster. Oh, we're even on income. Oh wow, it's actually fairly close.
But it's a little even.
But I think it's Sarastro's turn. They're building more units. Yeah, it's a little even, but I would say Sarastro is 100% in a better position, and they're not resigning. Man. Okay, I'm going to guess and say that's probably outside of range enough to be outside that Duster.
Yeah.
Oh man, what do you do?
Yeah, I will respect Lordofcold for however long he continues his game, because I would be so just discouraged and just surrender at this point.
Unless Lordofcold knows how to play around this, maybe we'll see. Is the power? Looks like I don't think the power is gonna pop just yet.
Not for a while, but the threat is always present, and that is the worst thing.
There's no anti-air for that Duster, and battlecopters cannot counterattack anti-airs.
Yeah, it's just like, because every turn you simulate or like try to figure out how to plan, you always have to account for what if my opponent just spontaneously gets +2 range and +2 move on everything.
Then you play around +2 range and +2 move.
Yeah, and then you just continue to give up ground, and you give up all your income, and then you kind of just shrivel up and die.
I was about to say that there's been a lack of indirects, but I take it back now, because it's not every game, but I feel like sometimes they're just Isabellas that just like don't build indirects, because indirects are take another level of skill to use, but she just synergizes so well with like every unit in the game.
Yeah, I mean, both players so far have been pretty more on the aggressive side of in the spectrum of games that we've seen. So yeah, they haven't really gotten like walls up really, but so we haven't been seeing those anti-airs, and that's kind of just preference. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if your opponent is going for a rush, then it's hard for you to also get the the artilleries and maintain your presence and maintain your ground.
Honestly, I'm starting to feel like there's not enough. I feel like there are just like so many bikes on Lordofcold's side. I was about to ask, like, where are the big units? You know, where are the tanks? 2 of them are in the back. The artillery, it just came out, so that's completely okay. We got 2 copters. Okay, not too bad. If there weren't anti-airs and dusters, like 3 anti-airs and a duster, just like, you know, staring them down. I want to look at the army value again. It almost feels like. Oh wait, where's he? Oh yeah, 100. So that's not too far apart, but I don't know why. How do I say this? Lordofcold's army almost feels very, very light. If you understand what I mean, because there's like all these.
Yeah.
There's like so many bikes, but not enough tanks, or like not enough tanks like in position. I would have loved to see an anti-air from the bottom side, though. Oh yeah.
I'm not sure why he didn't. I mean, I feel like you would want to keep that tank that's on the bottom-ish part to go to the left. Yeah. Keep it over there. But I feel like he just had to back up so far just to keep out of range of all of these threats. Sarastro will just keep chugging along and just be threatening like literally everything at once because the CO power is ready.
Everything that deals damage to a copter on Lordofcold's side is on the right side of the map.
And he resigns.
And they resign, yeah. I was just about to discuss that, if I may, CJ. Earlier, I didn't like where this anti-air was going.
Which one?
This one. They lost their first one. Okay, the backup. That's good. You're gonna have backup.
Oh, yeah.
Although it goes towards the right instead of the top. I don't agree with this anti-air there. Because how do I say this? You're always gonna want an anti-air, and it's standard, so you can see everything. If you're gonna lose this one, at least make sure you're gonna have a backup, because that thing is still gonna fly around. This anti-air is actually getting further and further away from its most valuable target, which is this battlecopter. Unless Lordofcold didn't see ahead of time that they were going to build this duster, that's the only explanation that I can give and excuse Lordofcold for, actually. But a duster on this side and keeping the anti-air here is actually okay air discouragement, okay air unit coverage, but instead it's continuing to go to the right, and like the duster and the anti-air are just next to each other, and because this anti-air is not over here, it's just free reign for the Isabella copter. So I think this anti-air slogging all the way towards the side here was what really began to hurt Lordofcold. And next thing you know, Sarastro is just knocking on Lordofcold's base, and they didn't build an anti-air this turn either. They built a tank, so they obviously had enough for it, but understandably so, they have no tanks either. So in this situation, do you build a tank or do you build an anti-air? Well, you could have built a tank if this anti-air had stayed here and discouraged the copter from even coming towards this front.
Yeah, I get it, and yeah, I don't really know why he did that either. But also there's hindsight. But still, yeah, I think keeping the anti-air on the left would have been good. There was immediate trouble in the middle, kind of the CO copter just going to the center, but there were the 2 other battle copters for blue There was also, a planned duster you could just take out.
I think Lord of Cold was maybe too scared of this duster here. I'm pretty sure it was like flying in the middle. Yeah, it was flying in the middle. It went from here, then like went there, then like went here. Yeah, it's almost like this. It's almost like Lord of Cold had this anti-air, try to get this duster, because one duster isn't going to kill the other duster, and if a duster is still alive, then you could just like do chip damage to copters, and maybe all of these freaking bikes on Lord of Cold's army. I want to see how many there are at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 bikes.
There are a lot of bikes. I feel like when you have so many bikes, I would kind of go for mechs.
Yeah, maybe. Like, that's why I felt like Lord of Cold's army felt so light, because there are like 5 more bikes than there are tanks.
Yeah.
And there are also copters, dusters as well. But I don't know if this is the best thing to do, but personally, I wouldn't just keep buying bikes. I would build in some infantry so I can at least save a couple thousand and build my more staple units, like more tanks or anti-airs. But I feel like that extra 1,000 that the bikes cost just like starts to eat up the income that you could have used for something else. Like say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those were infantry. You have enough for a tank.
Yeah, but that is still a considerable difference. Like that does take a while. Instead, maybe it's more along the lines of, instead of 2 bikes, you can have a B-copter. I mean, instead of 2 bikes, you can change them to infantry, and then you can change like a tank to a B-copter. Not that he actually needed more B-copters.
Maybe, but yeah, like save a few thousand, and you might don't save too much money, but just like over time, just like maybe save a couple thousand. You could maybe get more tanks, because yeah, looking at this army of Lord of Cold, it just didn't sit right with me. Personally, I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to sound condescending. If the tone does sound like that, I do apologize. But yeah, it just felt like there's just like way too many bikes. And because there's so many bikes, there's not a lot of other things that could deal with an anti-air, air units. They can only deal damage to like other foot soldiers.
Yeah, and sometimes like you have a lot of mobility with the bikes, but sometimes you actually don't need all that much. Like if you're not capping a lot, then you don't need them as much. And yeah, there weren't a lot of like trades of units, so at least if I remember correctly. So yeah, you didn't need to build as many bikes as maybe like infantry, because they will come into the battle slower and capture slower. But yeah, if there are already capture units in the area, like you don't need them as urgently.
I want to check. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, what did you want to check?
You can go ahead. I don't think I looked at the end-game stats.
Yeah, I think honestly, I have to think about this more, but I feel like player 1 actually has quite a strong FTA, because they can get the battlecopter early, and I think it's usually on Red's turn, or on player 1's turn, that they actually have enough income to build the battlecopter. Like, I'm not sure if Lord of Cold would have been able to build the battlecopter earlier than Sarastro. But Sarastro did save some money. I think, how much income did they have this turn? 13. So they had...
That is...
Yeah, 11.
Is that enough for 3 infantry?
Which one?
Okay, so hold on. 13,000... 2 infantry are 3,000. 4,500. No, they were... to avoid a base skip, and if you want to build a copter, you need 13,500.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sarastro didn't have enough for a copter without a base skip, but they went for the base skip, and yeah, that's a situation for Lord of Cold there.
Yeah,
on
this map, I think I think you don't mind the base skip on the 2 base side. And I think Sarastro wasn't even trying to push that hard on the right side.
Yeah.
I think by the end he only had like these 2 properties. So yeah, in that way he was able to save money, just buy a Decopter early.
Yeah, Lordofcold should have Lordofcold in this situation should have done their best to like take advantage of that 1 base skip, but they can't just.
Yeah, it's hard to do that though.
It is a little hard to do that when you're forced to build an anti-air that can't even go through all these wastelands in the center.
Yeah, so I think so. Let's see here. This is the turn where you don't want to give up charge. If you're, I think this is probably, if I was to maybe point out mistakes or things I would do differently, it's probably around here. That Decopter is pretty strong added pressure. Since it's Isabella, you can't be giving out free charge. So, you move up your anti-air, but you want to keep all of your units in range of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think that's possible. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so you can't actually get the city, despite just like how appealing it looks and like how close you are. You just can't do it. And with this tank coming in, like, yeah, I just, you can't do it because you're just gonna give up some charge. And yeah, we saw that. I think at this point you just hard back, because if you simulate this move, even though he joined the bikes so that he would, you know, try to cover up that weakness, the zone just makes it so that like these guys can kill it, and then hit the AA, and then the AA does nothing. So yeah, I think this turn was really the worst part. I think that's where it all went wrong, because yeah, there was just too big of an advantage. You can't counter a 3-zone Isabella at this point. There's no A's around anymore.
Should the AA,
this tank is too strong.
Should the AA have like not allow itself to like be hit by the tank?
So
did it attack an infantry? I think Lordofcold's AA, did it attack an infantry?
It attacked a bike.
It attacked a bike. Yeah, that's that's a blunder right there.
Yeah, and I mean he did his best, but I think even without the zone, a bike plus a 7 HP bike would still kill this bike. So
yeah.
So yeah, like he did his best, but yeah, either you don't cap this city on the prior turns, either you just don't do this, or you back up immediately after you say, "Oh man, I lost 14 charge, I just need to leave."
Maybe they wanted to stick around because they don't have the mirroring property on the other side. If Lordofcold maybe went for a play where they could capture that property, then maybe they can. Maybe it's worth stopping the cap on the bottom left. But I understand Lordofcold's position of wanting to get that property while Sarastro has the other property. And they were also like, you know, how do I say this? They like really, really wanted to get close to that battlecopter, I could tell, but they kind of tunnel visioned and ended up exposing themselves to a tank.
Yeah, and that's where I'm wondering, like, is there a distinct first turn advantage? Because he is able to get that copter out faster and then pressure that area. Even though you do the correct response of an anti-air, it just doesn't get there. You either lose, you know, I mean, losing the anti-air is just completely bad, so you can't do that. So either you give up charge and you capture the city, or you just leave the city and you just don't get the equivalent, or you lose the equivalent on the other side. Either that, or it's possible that player 2 could also do Battlecopter and get the CO out, but then it's kind of a rush for energy, and you're still kind of pressured into being more conservative. I'm not sure who wins in that
That was
case.
That was the same situation in the Icy Rush FTK game, actually, where Rush actually went for the copter instead of the anti-air like Lordofcold.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lordofcold did go for the AA first instead.
Yeah. I do want to see, maybe, if I may, CJ, could they have saved money for a tank? Could they instead of buying all these bikes? It's
no,
like,
I think you,
how much is too much bikes?
I guess at this, no, I still think those bikes are generally necessary. There's not too much on the field yet, and so you need those bikes to be out. You need those bikes to be protecting your other bikes that are capturing. So I don't think buying the bikes is wrong here, and I think it's pretty standard that's you just go for bikes.
Maybe. I think in this situation, looking at it now, I probably would have like saved some money for a tank, but at the cost of having less mobile capturing units. But if I am like forced to build an anti-air here, I definitely would want like another staple unit such as a tank.
Yeah, I mean you have to do one at a time since you just don't have enough money, but I mean I guess with what you're saying, like if you get infantry out earlier, then you might have enough money for both a tank and an anti-air.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah, like hold on, like get the bikes for the easy captures they can get. Then at least hold off just a little bit. Try to build some infantry. It's just something that I do. It's like sometimes I like think about how much money to save if I want a vehicle. Like in most games where they have 3 bases, I'm like, okay, I could buy these more expensive bikes, but I won't have 10,000. 10,000 allows me to buy a tank and 2 infantry without base skipping and get that tank. It's just one of those planning ahead things. Although this is more than just a single turn ahead. This is definitely like a lot of turns ahead. And if Lordofcold could like read what sarastro was gonna do with the copter. But yeah, it's just that anti-air with nothing to protect it is definitely an iffy situation for Lordofcold.
Yeah, so I mean, it's always hard because you never know what that first unit, that first like mid cost unit is gonna be. It could be a tank, could be an anti-air, could be a B-copter. Most of the time, it's not an anti-air, so it's probably gonna be a tank or B-copter, but you don't know which, and you don't know where it's gonna be, and so it's kind of hard to plan for that in particular because that is. In the early game, like, yeah, you're going for captures, and the captures are generally gonna be similar. I mean, there's certain parts where there's differences in which areas are gonna be pressured for captures. But I think some of the real decisions some of the like most
crucial,
influential decisions in the game are like where that first tank or B-copter or what it is.
Where the first vehicles go.
Where it's going to be, yeah, and if it's going to be a CO or not, which most of the time it is going to be a CO. So yeah, where your CO goes, which already was, I guess, a big decision in itself. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that you got to think about and is hard to compensate for because, I mean, yeah, they could put it anywhere. So
yep. All right. Anything else you'd like to touch up on, CJ?
Yeah, no, not really. I think the main point for this game was just the threat of the CO. Like, you can't be giving out that charge, and so I think I just would have preferred just backing up from that situation entirely. Give up that city, which is kind of annoying, but maybe refocus towards the center or something like that. Because the center was relatively slower to get captured, so that could be an option for you, but... Yeah, I mean, sarastro, like, after that first AA blunder, it was pretty much downhill from there for Lordofcold. There wasn't a lot that he could have done unless Sarastro also plundered. But yeah, with the added charge, it just makes it really, really punishing. So
yeah, and that second and that second or like third anti-air, whatever it was, the last anti-air didn't even go towards the Isabella copter. Yeah. All right, so that is the last game of round 2 of the Tiny Wars Open Tournament. Sarastro moves on to round 3, and I believe round 1 put us at 16 players. Round 2 put us at 8 players left, so we're already in the top 8 of this tournament, CJ.
Yeah.
I'm honestly already surprised that we had over 30 players to begin with, and it's been running smoothly. We've been having games, some are long, some are short, a lot of things to like learn from these games. Are we about halfway?
Just finishing round 1 is technically halfway.
Yeah, halfway with players, but when it comes to rounds, so let's see.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's round 1 and then round 2.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Round 3 puts us at 4.
We have 5 rounds in total.
Yeah, we have 5 rounds. So we are like kind of halfway. Through recording all these games, the tournament's like already gone ahead, but like I said, we're gonna get all these games in. If you'd like to know when all these games are premiering, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Me and CJ will be covering every game. I think I just said that. Sarastro moves on. Next time you see us, it will be round 3. We will announce the map in a video and then start those games. Thank you for watching. I'm Advanced Warrior.
And I'm CJ.
And you all have our warmest regards. Please take care.
Thanks for watching.
Ciao, ciao.